What I'd like to start off is do a brief background of where we come from and iObeya and how we came about. If you look at visual management, in particular within SAFe, there have been a couple of different approaches that people have taken in the past. The first one is to use digital tools for visual management. We see a lot of people using typical Kanban boards or even Excel charts. And the big challenges that we've seen with that are, number one, they're really not very collaborative. It's very difficult to get people together from different places. It's not very transparent. You know, one of the things that is a core value is transparency, and we want to be able to maintain that transparency across different teams. And last but not least, it's really not very visual. You know, you're really kind of stuck in columns. It's a little too structured. And so what we've seen, this is particularly true of PI planning, but it's also across the board, is a lot of use of paper-based visual management. And so paper-based visual management is great. It's easy to use. You can put it up on a wall, but it also has a ton of challenges. Number one, it's single site. So you all have to be in the same location. Yes, you know, we want to get co-located PI planning events, and we want to bring everybody in, but sometimes it's not possible to bring everybody in. Also, you want to be able to use that information after the PI planning event. You don't want to have to recopy it onto into your computer systems or what have you. And there's also a security issue when it comes to paper. And so what we've done is we've created a visual management system that is really founded on four things. One is it's very team-based collaboration. Everything we do is in teams, team rooms, so that you have that transparency across the team, you have that team ownership. We have an intuitive UI that really looks at paper and how we can replicate the experience of paper, whether it's on large format boards or however you are actually managing a planning session or a visual management session. We're founded on lean and agile principles. We should say lean is in our blood. We started out, Obeya actually means large room in Japanese, and that's the origin of our software name. And we've really taken that concept of Obeya and digitized that from the very concept. And then we're also enterprise grade. Everything we've done from the beginning has been focused on enterprises. A couple of facts about us. We are a French company with employees across 4 different continents. First commercial release was in 2012. That was a joint work with Peugeot Citroën in Paris. You can see a few examples of our customers. A couple you can note in particular that are very notable in the lean space. We do have the software available in English, French, German, and Japanese, and we are available. We have many enterprise customers across lots of different continents. I'm actually using the software right now to demonstrate this to you, but you can see here this is what a digital Obeya room looks like from a 2-dimensional perspective. We can actually see this on a 3-dimensional or 2-dimensional, I should say, perspective right now. So this is an actual Obeya room, and this is what we're using to present to you today. We can take a look at how we're doing this for scaled agile. We look at the different levels, the portfolio level, program level, and the team level. And in fact, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of these rooms and see what people are doing and how we're actually using it. So let's start off with the portfolio level. You can see where we have a portfolio Kanban that has the various epics. Within that, we have lots of different data within these. We have WSGIF values, etc. I can very easily click on one of these to change it. Let's say I want to move to this particular feature as a go. Likewise, I can click on one of these links so that I can actually access, in this particular case, the Epic Lean business case, which is connected to my drive. So if I go ahead and do that, from here we can take a look at a few of the other boards. We can see, for example, the 4.6, the new Lean portfolio canvas that we have filled out here. We have a portfolio SWOT that we worked on. We also have a value stream mapping. So we did some value stream mapping here. You can see, some of the work that we've done. We want to identify a couple of different operational value streams. We're going to start off with this one. This is going to be number 1. I'm actually going to change the color of this to red and say this is going to be number 2. It's very easy to use. It's very visually, so that you can manage the overall process of value stream mapping, etc. So if we continue on here, we can take a look at a couple of other things. Here, we've actually taken a look at all of the different trains. I want to put a shout out to, I think it was Northwestern University, that actually came up with the idea of this type of graphic, where you have the cows that are blocking off the trains. But here we've done a graphic where we've created different trains, and we can actually visualize where the arts are in terms of when they have blockages and when you're actually planning out a implementation railway. So really interesting approach to that. Likewise, if we move over, you can see an implementation roadmap for training. So we want to make sure that we're doing the coaching. We want to go through a safe implementation roadmap on a schedule. All of this you can do within the context of iObeya. So let's go ahead and take a look at an art. So I'm going to click over here to another art, which are another room. So I'm on a second room now. In this case, I have a program Kanban. So this is just like the other Kanban, only in this case we have features instead of epics. Likewise, we have a program board for program planning. You can see this is for the PI planning process. We've identified a couple of links here. Oh, and it looks like someone else is in the room. So one of the things that you'll see is that we have lots of people connected from different locations around the world. This all lives in the cloud, so anybody can be connected in real time and be planning this from different locations. Let's say you have a PI planning event that's happening both in California and India, and both teams are actually going through here and making updates and changes in real time. So you can see a couple of things that are happening there. Some people are putting in links. I'll go ahead and put in a link. Looks a lot like a string, as you can see. So I'll do my slideshow to my QRQC card, and then I'll turn that off. You can see here that it's very easy to sort of make this very visual and move it around so that you can make it clearer from a visual perspective, from an understanding perspective. You can see here we also have some WSGIF values in here within the card, lots of different information available. If I look at my, let's pop over to my QRQC card, I can see there's actually a collection of stories. These are the different stories that make up this feature, so that when we're actually doing the planning, we can know exactly what stories are part of this. And that's actually connected to another board, which is our team board. So let's go ahead and look at the Crazy Bears team board. You saw up here we have actually all the different teams have their team boards in the room. And in this case, we are looking at a team board where you have your velocity and load factors already set up, so that you can actually understand your capacity and understand when you're going to be overloaded in a particular iteration, as well as different features. Oh, it looks like someone's about to play planning poker. So let's go ahead and zoom in and see what happens if we play planning poker a little bit. So why don't we do this right now? I'm going to say, everybody, 1, 2, 3, shoot. There we go. All right, so we have 8s and 13s. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. Let's see if everybody agrees that this should be a 13. So ready? 1, 2, 3, shoot. All right, we've all agreed. It's a 13. I've made my case. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and change my story points in here. I'm going to make this 13. And go ahead and place this up into one of the sections. You can see, though, it might overload my velocity because I put a 13 card in where I already had over my load. So you overloaded my load. So I'm going to move that over into iteration 4. So now it is actually balanced very well. So great example of how you can use this in real time from different locations across a team. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of other things in here. We have, in addition to the planning board, we have, let me do it from a room view. That makes it a little bit easier. Another way you can do this is from an overall view. You can see all of the different boards in the room. But I'm going to go back to the room view just to make it more simple. We have a risk roaming chart. So this is just like a regular risk roaming chart. You have the different types of cards that will address those. We have an inspect and adapt fishbone diagram. So in this particular case, I can go in and actually edit some of this. So I'm going to, for example, add a card here and say I need to hire a RTE. Of course, I need to put a space in there. and probably should be an and. And again, I can put this as a #1 priority like that, so that I can see all the different, I can add things in real time, just like anybody else in the room can. So we looked at a program level. Let's go ahead and look at what happens when you go into a team. So I'm going to look at Team Crazy Bears. Oh, it looks like they're actually doing a stand-up meeting. So they started their meeting facilitation process. So I'm going to join that stand-up meeting. And you can see now I'm not going to touch anything. Someone else is controlling the board. They're doing a search, and we are going to zoom. It looks like they're zooming in on a couple of different items. So this is a means of doing meeting facilitation where someone within the team can actually take control of the board, and everybody else around the world has to follow along. So in this case, Johan is doing that. Johan's going through and changing some things. I'm actually going to ask Johan, hey, Johan, I would like to request control for this and actually take control and do it myself. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to change the filter information, reset the filter. And in this particular case, I'm going to say I want to just filter on my items. I'm going to click on my items, and then it'll zoom in on just the things that I want to look at. So let me go ahead and preview these items. These are the items that I own, and as you can see, I can go in and actually zoom into where this item is on the board, really on the fly. So with that, I'm going to let Johan take control back and then ask him to turn it off, if you wouldn't mind doing that. Great, thank you very much. So this is basically the same board that we were looking at before, but in a different team rooms, so that you can share boards between rooms. Let's take a look at the other boards that we have in here. So we have a Team Kanban as well that has information on it. We have the Crazy Bears Team Canvas. This is something that the group just developed themselves. We have a retrospective. So retrospectives are interesting because you can do real-time brainstorming, real-time voting. So if I go ahead and click here, I click on brainstorming, it will allow me to brainstorm for all the participants in the room. If I click on voting, it will allow people to vote. And you can see here that people have already voted in this case. I'm going to remove the votes now that we know that they're there, and we can theoretically start all over again. Now, a lot of people, we've seen a lot of people use Jira. Jira is one of the most common things, common tools out there. And so we've done a lot of work to integrate with Jira as well. So if we pop over to the team that's using Jira, the team Ewoks, they're a little bit geeky on Star Wars, so I apologize for all the Star Wars comments, but you can see some interesting creativity that they've used. One of the things that iObeya does is it does encourage creativity. It does encourage you to really customize and configure the things the way that you want them. But what I'm going to do is jump in and look at a Jira board. So in this particular case, instead of the regular cards that we were using in the other boards, we actually have Jira cards. These Jira cards have information on them that are pulled directly from Jira. So this is the title of the card. If I click on the card, it will show me the description, priority, status. These are all things that I can configure. So I can configure up to 4 fields on the bottom here that you can look at. And this is fully synchronized. So if I open this Jira card, you can see that this is, I'm not going to translate, thank you. This is, for example, assigned to J. Revel, Julian. It's a story, critical, etc. If I go back and let me see where I am under there. So if I go back, and I'm actually going to change the person on here. So from Julian to Antoine. So as I click this, it will change the card to Antoine. Now I'm going to go in and open the Jira link, and you can see that the assignee is now Antoine. So this is all-time real synchronization. If I wanted to change this to someone else, let's say Alexi, that's now been changed. And what we can do here is we can do a quick check for updates. It will tell me that there's been an update to the card, and I can, on the fly, apply the update, and it will synchronize with that as well. So the idea is that you can use the Jira cards and have the data in the background at the same time that you have the ability to really visualize this in a flexible environment for visual management. Likewise, if I wanted to do a bulk import, I can import from this Jira project. I'm going to go into the Kanban project. I'm going to say criteria all, take a quick look and see what I have. These are the projects I have available to me. I'm just going to select a few of these, 3 of them, click import, and now I have my 3 cards directly from Jira that I can put into my work stream here, into my backlog. So, a quick look at how things are actually organized and how you can work with Jira, as well as working with different types of visualization. We'll take a quick look at 1 or 2 other boards, just as we're ready to close out here. You can see this is a board where people got very, once again, very creative. We have Devops Boards, so you can really pull in and manage your DevOps and be able to visualize a lot of the priorities that you have, etc. So with that, what I'd like to do is sort of round out the conversation, talk a little bit about how we work with partners. So for transformation partners, for safe transformation partners, we do have a program that we can work with you to provide you a demo for internal use. We can also provide some discount licensing for your internal consulting practice, as well as access to early roadmap and beta software. We do a lot of updates and work very closely with partners in this space. For platform partners, we don't forget about you as well. So we do have an API SDK. If we have a mutually agreed upon business case to do some integration between us, we're happy to do that, as well as connect you with our professional services for that integration discussion. So with that, if you would like to join and would like to become more active and learn about iObeya, please send me an email at tmccracken@iobeya.com. Join our website. Come to the Safe Summit. We're going to be an exhibitor at the Hague. We'll also be an exhibitor at the end of the year as well. And of course, join our Twitter account at iObeya. So with that, I would like to pass it back to the team and see if there's any questions or if there's anything that you'd like to ask about the software.